guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Philip and today I'm going to be showing you how to make this cool speed typing game on Scratch. Now in this game you have trucks that appear on the left side of the screen and they display a word. If you type in words, if the word that you type in is the same as one of the words that the trucks are displaying, then the truck will disappear. But if a truck reaches the right side of the screen, then stats about the game that you just played will appear. Um, this game may look simple, but it actually has two very important algorithms that we will be using. The first one is how to extract words from any text, which we'll use for the trucks to say words from any text. And the second one is to make the trucks that look like they're in front of the other trucks actually be in front of the trucks that are behind them. So let's get started. Click the create button, and the first thing we want to do is we want the trucks to say words. Now, where are those words coming from? From where do the trucks know what to say? Obviously, we will need a list of words from where the trucks will get their words to say from. So let's go ahead and make a list, and we'll call it words. Okay, now the problem is how do we put in words in this list? Obviously you could do it by hand, just like this. You could type in something, I don't know, and then just keep clicking this, blah, 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 however many you want. But to do more than like 100, let's say, it would take a long time, and we want to do like a couple hundred words, because if we don't do a couple hundred words, then they will repeat when the trucks say them, so that won't be good. So obviously we need to find a smarter way to do this, which is getting a paragraph and using an algorithm to take out the words and put them in the list. So how do we get that paragraph? Well, you either just have one already somewhere that you want to use or something like that, but I found this website that will make a random text for me, and that's what I'm going to use. So let's go ahead and open that website. And what you want to select is plain text here, and then here select the language that you want. There's different languages that you can pick, but I'm always going to use English for now. And then click go, and you can see here it will generate a random text for you. Now you might notice that these sentences make absolutely no sense, but that does not matter for us because the only thing that we need out of this is the words. They don't need to make sense in sentences. So what you're going to do is select all of it like that, Control C to copy it, and then what we need to do with these is put them in a variable so that we can remember these words so that we can do that algorithm to put them in the list later. So let's go ahead and make a variable. I'm going to call it text. And when green flag clicked, we just want to set text to, and then Control V to paste all of that. Now, don't panic when you see all of this text that's here. If you just scroll this all the way back here and just click down, it'll all disappear and it'll just be this tiny part of it, so that's good. So what we need to do is we need to identify if any character of our variable text is, let's say, anything that is separating words. So let's say space, for example. So to do this, we'll need a variable. I'm going to call it counter. Okay, and basically at the beginning we want to set counter to 1 and 1 because the first character of text is 1. It's the first one, not the 0 with 1. So 1, set counter to 1, and then we need to ask ourselves for every single character of text. So what we're going to do is we're going to repeat, and then we're going to repeat length of text times, so that that's how many, so that it goes once for each character, like I said. And what we're going to do is we're going to change counter by 1 so that it just goes to the next character, and we're going to ask ourselves if it's space. So if that the character it's currently on is space. So if letter counter of text. And what that means right there is that if the character we're currently on of text, and we're going to ask that if that equals space. Okay, click space and make sure that it's a space. So when you click Control A here in this thing, there will be a highlighted space there, and make sure that it's not nothing, it's got to be space. Okay, so if this happens, then we need to add, so if there's a space, that means we know that a word just ended. So we got to add that word to our list of words. So I'm going to add thing to words. Now what is that thing? Well, that thing is going to be the word that just got created. So to do this, we're going to make a variable to remember that word. So we're going to call it word. At the beginning, we can go ahead and set word to nothing. This time no space, just nothing. And basically here you want to add word to words. And this is where we need an if else instead of just an if, because if it's not a space, then we want to just add the current letter to what was our variable word before. So I'm going to take this right here and this right here. Make this if into an if else. Okay, so if this, then add word to words. Else, we're going to set our variable word to what it was before. So word and this letter counter of text, the character that we just looked at. So I'm going to do a join. This and this. Okay? And one more thing, here when you add word to words, that means the word just ended, so you want to set our variable word back to nothing. No space, just nothing. Okay, now let's test it, and when we test it, words should appear here in our words list right here. So you can see that words appear, and there's 690 of them. So that is good. Now let's go ahead and hide these variables. And the last thing we're going to do is space isn't going to be the only thing separating words. It can be periods, exclamation marks, question marks, colons, semicolons, or whatever. So instead of this, we could just keep adding ors here. So space or question mark or exclamation mark or blah, blah, blah. But we're not going to do that because that's a lot of ors and a lot of code. So instead of that, we're going to get rid of that, and we're going to say if something contains something. We're going to use this thing, this block of code. So we're going to do if, and then we're going to put all the things that might separate words, like space, period, comma, question mark, exclamation mark, semicolon, colon. So yeah, that's about it. Let's test it. And you can see that the length goes very high, so don't forget to also delete. I'm going to click delete all of words. Okay, and if you test it now, it still will be more than it was before, and this is because if you take a look through these, you'll find words like this one right here, which is not actually a word. It's like nothing. It's literally nothing. So that is because in this text, we might have a space and a period or something like that, two or more put together. So if you have two, so let's say period and space. If you have period, so period contains this, that means it goes here. That means you add word to word. So you add that word and then set word to nothing. So currently word is nothing. And then you also have space. So you go back in here and you add nothing to words because this was nothing from there. So that's how you get these words that are actually not words. They're nothing. So you only want to be able to add word to words and set word to nothing if our variable word is not nothing. So if it's not equal to nothing. So if word we'll put this if right here. If word not equal to, and then make sure this says nothing. Okay? So let's test it. And let's scroll down the list. And as you can see, there are no more blank words. So that is good. Now, the last thing we're going to do is we don't want to have the same word multiple times. So if we're going to do if our words list already contains the word that we're about to put in, then put it in if it's not already there. So we're going to ask ourselves if words contains, and then the word that we're just about to put in, which is word. Then if this already happens, we don't want to put the thing, so we're actually going to do it backwards. We're going to do if not words contains word, then you're going to, then you're going to add word to words. Okay? So let's test it. And you can see that the length shortened, so that means that the words that were duplicated or triplicated or whatever, they got deleted. So that's good. They didn't get added. So up to this point, what you've done is an algorithm that takes whatever text you write here and it splits it into words and puts the words into our list. Now this sprite isn't going to be shown at all in the game, so let's go ahead and hide it because this is going to be just like the brain. So let's go ahead and call it big brain. Okay. Now one more thing for the big brain, we want it to always ask the person. We want the person to always be able to type in a word. So we're going to do right here forever after we have done the algorithm, so we already have the words in the list. So forever ask, and then you can put whatever message you want here. I'm just going to put nothing, but you can put whatever you want because the sprite is hidden, so the message won't appear anyway. And then just to know that it asked, we're just going to play a sound. Let's go get a sound. We'll just do the pop sound. Okay. So let's put that in. Okay. Now let's test it. And you can see that it's asking you, and then when I type in a word, it keeps asking you, and it also plays that sound pop. So that is good. But before we start asking, we need the trucks to say words. So we need to let the trucks know that they need to start saying words. So to do that, we're going to broadcast a message right here before we ask. And we're going to call it start game because it's basically starting the game. Okay, now let's go ahead and choose a sprite. It's called truck, I think. Yeah, there it is. It's got 3 costumes, I think. And now let's go ahead and make it smaller because it's huge, so 50%. Yeah, 50% is good. And then when I receive start game, we want to forever create clone and then wait, let's say 2 seconds because we want a clone every 2 seconds. And when I start as a clone, first let's pick a random costume. So let's check how many costumes there are. There's 3, like I said. So pick random 1, 2, 3. Okay, and then we need it to start somewhere. So somewhere on this side of the screen. So we're gonna go to X, -240, and Y is gonna be a pick random between. We don't want it to go on the full screen because that would be too big of a space to put everything. So just do -100 to 100, and then also don't forget to hide the original and show the clones. So we want the truck to move. So to make the truck move, what we're going to do is we're going to keep moving until we hit this edge. So we're going to repeat until X is greater than 240. the edge of the screen. Let's just make 230 actually, so that it's like close to the edge. And then we're going to change inside of that. We're going to change X by, let's try 5. Okay. Now let's go ahead and hide this list so that we can test it. Okay, so trucks appear from that side of the screen and they go to this side. Okay, that's good. Now we want the trucks to say a word, a random word from our list. So we're going to do a say, and we're going to say, we want to say an item of our list. So we're going to do item, but then we don't want a specific one. We want a random. So I'm going to pick random between 1 and the last one, which is going to just be length of words, or list words. Okay, so let's test it. And you can see that it's, the trucks are saying words. You can see that one says that word, the greater, fruit, traveling, yeah, and it says different, it says words, so that's good. Now we want the truck to know every time when we've answered. So we're going to broadcast after every ask, after this ask. I'm going to broadcast word typed. Oops. Word typed. Okay. And then here at the truck, when I receive word typed, we want to ask ourselves if what the truck said equals what the player typed, then delete this clone. But we can't do that. There's no block that says what the truck said. So that's why we're going to make a variable. We're going to call it my word. And for the sprite only, because each truck will need its own my word. Because each truck is going to say something different. And then basically, we're going to set my word to this, and then we're going to say my word. And then here we're going to ask if my word equals answer, then delete this clone. So now let's test it. And let's go ahead and type in what it says, and it disappears. And another one, and it disappears. So it's working. That is good. So that's it for part 1. In part 2, we will make the trucks come at different speeds. We'll also make the trucks be in front of each other depending on how it's supposed to be, which is not as easy as it seems. We'll be using a list and also a sorting algorithm that we're going to make. And we're also going to make a couple more little changes to the game to make it better. So thanks for watching. I hope you liked the video, and I'll see you next time.